Okay, so here's the question right here. Did Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life album, Volume 2, deserve 4.5 mics from the source? I remember going back to when that album dropped. I'm going to give a little breakdown about it. Jay-Z was just coming off of Volume 1 in my lifetime. He wasn't really proud of the success of it, even though I thought it was one of his best albums. It's just that this came at a time where your first single was a reflection of your album. When he dropped Sunshine, that turned a lot of people off. Even though later on he dropped Who You With, they know they had to come back to the streets, and they started dropping the Streets Is Watching soundtrack, which had Jay focusing more on going back to to appeal to the streets, because hip hop was changing. They tried to go the jiggy route with Puff. Then they put out that horrible song, I Know What Girls Like, I Know What They Want. It was horrible. So with Streets Is Watching, there was a new detour to a new direction. They shot a mini movie. It was Hood. They shot more of the street singles like Imaginary Player, Streets Is Watching, Where I'm From, You Must Love Me. And that gained them more appeal to the streets, because then this is where the Rough Riders explosion happened, when DMX blew up. And he single-handedly changed the whole landscape of the industry. So, in knowing that, Jay-Z knew he had to get a little more gritty. He was the player guy. He was the guy coming out there with songs like Feeling It, Ain't No Nigga, Can't Knock the Hustle. He would usually spit a lot of Big Willie Fly-ish. But on this album here, he got more street. But what was interesting about Hard Knock Life too was he was also talking about retiring. And I knew that was for Cap, because he wanted to probably boost them sales. But we knew Jay-Z wasn't going to retire. There was even talks of him passing the torch to Memphis Bleek. I remember hearing a lot about that. It was to where they actually tried to go through with the gimmick. And Bleek was actually opening the intro. Now, DJ Premier only did one beat on that album, and that was the intro to Memphis Bleek. They was thinking Memphis Bleek was going to be the one that was going to pass the torch. He was going to carry Rockefeller. We knew that wasn't going to happen. But then he put out It's a Hard Knock Life for Us. That beat was so hard. And the way when the way he was flowing on there was pretty hard too. I mean, the Annie sample was so hypnotic. I remember when it used to New York radio used to blow that song all the way up, man. And that put Jay in the streets. He had that song along with If You Bounce, If You Want to Bounce, Fall If You Want to Fall, It's Alright. Those two main songs. Then he put out what's the name of that song? Can I Get a What? Jay-Z was putting out, he was doing his thing throughout the spring and the summer of '98. Him and DMX was neck and neck. DMX to me was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Jay-Z was The Rock. They both were head to head, neck and neck when it came to popularity in the streets. So Jay knew he had to get more edgy. I mean, he kept the Big Willie rhymes, but at the same time, he had to appeal more to the lifestyle of those who was living the streets at the time. So with this album, he went and got Swiss Beats. Irv Gotti did some joints. But the Swiss Beats feel is all over this album. Timbaland, Stevie J, 45 King. He got a lot of hitters up here. And I want to ask y'all this. What happened to the Rajas? The Rajas was on the song, If I Should Die, don't cry, my niggas. I'll get loud, my niggas. Stay high, my niggas. They only had one hot song, and that was with CeeLo Green. And it was produced by DJ Premier, I believe. Them dudes was nice. I thought they were part of the Rough Riders at first, with the way they were spitting. But then Jay-Z, he only had like what two solo songs on that album. That was Hard Knock Life and Ride or Die. And Ride or Die was where he stepped up his arrogance. He is heavy on Mace. We knew who he was talking about. Mace couldn't come back to that. I mean, that first verse, he just straight ate Mace alive. Because they had a little back and forth going on. A lot of people don't know that. Mace had a joint going at Jay-Z using the horse and carriage beat. And Jay just went crushed him, man. I like when Jay get on that type of move. Say, I always got to be the weakest nigga out the crew. I probably make more money off your album than you. You can see the respect I get every time I come through. Check your own videos. You will always be number 2. Niggas talking real greasy on them R&B records, but I'm platinum a million times, nigga. Check the credits. Roast niggas like ya. Take your jewels and toast niggas like ya. Like, dang, Jay-Z went in. He put the shotters out on Mace. But then he also had the joint with JayZ's, which was nice too, with the Timbaland beat. That beat was so hypnotic, man. I mean, I remember when I bought that album in '99 and I played it in my daddy's Benz, and that beat. And the way he flowed on there, he mastered that. Him and JayZ did his thing up there. That was a great look for JayZ. But there's one song to me, this is my personal favorite of the whole album. And next to Reservoir Dogs was A Week Ago. Let me tell y'all why. There's 2 reasons. Because number 1, he was dropping a lot of game about snitches out there. And number 2, what people don't know is he coined that phrase a week ago. It's all good just a week ago. And people still use that phrase to this day. To this day, he coined that. The same way Eminem coined Stan, he coined this. And what people originally don't know, Pimp C was supposed to have been on the hook of this instead of Too Short, but Pimp C didn't want to fly to New York. So y'all got a little hip-hop history right there. But what I didn't like about Hard Knock Life, though, was it seemed as if he got a little bit lazy, because a lot of the songs, they were already on other people's soundtracks or projects. I'm talking Money Ain't a Thing, It's Alright, It's Like That with Kid Capri, Can I Get Her, that was on the Rush Hour soundtrack. That was like 4 or 5 songs, and plus at that time every song had a feature. It was like more so around the industry where people were putting out more so compilations. And it was cool and all, but I want to hear more of Jay. But let me tell y'all, Reservoir Dogs, one of the greatest posse cuts I've ever heard. Top 5, no question. The Lox was even dissing Jay on that joint. Beanie Siegel and Sauce Money, they were all going at it. It was competitiveness. And big shout out to Eric Sermon on the beat. But another song I didn't like, though, I didn't like Paper Chase with Foxy Brown, because Foxy, it seemed like at that time she just switched her whole flow around to sound like Lil' Kim. And this was around the China Doll era, and I wasn't really feeling that. It didn't really sound like her. And then you had Money Cash Hoes. That was another Swizz Beatz joint, which was pretty good. It was pretty good, though. DMX killed it. I mean, overall, Hard Knock Life was a dope album. I won't say 4.5. I'll probably say a solid 4. Because, for one, he had about 4 or 5 songs that was already heard, that was already other people's projects. Number 2, he had too many features. But this was the album right here that brought Jay that street audience that he needed, that he lost with Sunshine. But 4.5, nah. Because you at that time, you had Outkast coming out, you had Lauryn Hill coming out, Badass coming out. It was too many projects at the time. And this was actually the last album I was listening to. Because you had so much heat coming out. Even Brand Nubian dropped a joint that day. But let me know what you guys think. JayZ's Hard Knock Life Volume 2, the 04.5 mics. Let me know. Peace.